Hi, a film I watched last night that I was interested in seeing for some time is Pink Floyd The Wall. It's an adaptation of the concept album by the band, advertised in the front credits and on the album itself as being by Roger Waters rather than by the band itself, although the band's name is in the title of the film. And it follows the cycle of music from the original album. It's a largely autobiographical work by Waters, starting with his father's death during World War II before his birth, and then going through his life as he becomes more alienated from the world around him, a suffocating mother, a cruel, unsympathetic teacher, a girlfriend who doesn't understand him, and he gradually constructs a metaphorical wall around himself to insulate him from the rest of the world as he becomes increasingly successful as a rock star. The main character in the film is nicknamed Pink, whose last name is Pinkerton, and is played by Bob Geldof in his first acting role. And the film itself is a sung-through musical, meaning that although there is some background dialogue, it's of no real consequence, and all the actual emotion of the spoken word is portrayed through music. I wasn't hugely impressed by this, and this largely relates to my feelings about Waters himself. He essentially took over the band and decided that it was going to um, perform the music that he wanted to about his life and how terrible his life was. And um, as a result, the film is very much the band, formerly very collaborative, just performing the work of the central artist, Roger Waters. And it's really no surprise that a year after the film came out, the band kicked Roger Waters out and worked off on their own and produced much more enjoyable, rewarding music. Um, it's extremely stylized. The direction is by Alan Parker and is very impressive, and the design by Gerald Scarfe, based on some of the designs for his album, are very impressive. The film is interspersed with animation to signify the inside of Pink's mind. The whole film essentially takes place in a hotel room where Pink is set watching films of World War II, and we flash back to the past, to his childhood, to the more recent past, and these fantasy sequences portrayed through animation. The music is fantastic, and I think that The Wall is a very impressive achievement musically. It's just that it's all about how terrible it is being a rock star and pushing away everyone and never really taking responsibility for the problems in your life. That even though they're created by outside sources, you have to actually deal with them and accept responsibility rather than assume that, oh, it's terrible, there's nothing I can do about it, which is absurd. And I'm not sympathetic to the character or Roger Waters himself. And I think that's the problem with the movie. I don't actually care about this character at all, that his behavior is very much, oh, poor little me. And as a result, I think he kind of deserves to be tortured by himself because he refuses to take responsibility for his own actions and for his own life. Um, so, although the film is very impressively designed and directed, um, it does seem strangely distant. I don't actually care about anything that was happening. And I found it extremely odd as well that most of the supporting roles are taken by little known actors, as really none of them actually sing. Um, and yet, Pink's manager is played by Bob Hoskins. And this was several years after Bob Hoskins had really broken through as a main leading actor. He appears in two scenes and has a small amount of background dialogue, none of which is really relevant. It could have been completely lost from the mix completely. But I do find it very weird that Hoskins would be involved in this project. Um, so overall, I found it really quite unsatisfactory and unengaging. Uh, an impressive work of art, but much harder to like than it is to be admiring of.